Alright, sorry about that. We're moving on to his turn.
Supply.
Yes, supply. So the airbase has self-resupply. And the chaparral and the CBs get supply.
Actually, we'll put him underneath as he's going down.
Then he goes into his move attack phase.
Whoa, 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 what do you got over there? Mortars. We're going to move up one. Move him up. I'm going to move him over here. I'm going to put him in here.
Okay, so they're going to stay there for this round, and then he has his warthog. And again, we're not trying to get too much into the battlefield thing. I just wanted to show how the air-sea units affect the battlefield. Right now, they've affected us pretty much on the build queue and what's onto the battlefield and how we were to deck build. But he's going to have that F-16 ready to go the next turn, and hopefully in less than 3 turns, I'll be able to have that naval base. Well, at least we're going to have an exchange.
Let's have an exchange.
Alright, so right now he's going to fire with the Thunderbolt. He has 1 radius. He can fire on both of those. It just so happens that my Stinger Sam has a special ability, Return Fire, for just this occasion that I can fire back, even though it's his turn, and then it's going to be a wash. However, the anti-tank Javelin is going to be taken out by the Thunderbolt. That's taken out by my Stinger Sam, and I know he has an Abrams coming in. So now I've lost that anti-tank Javelin. So that's going to change the way that my cards match up against his. Okay, moving quickly. On to your turn. Every green card comes down. Then the howitzer goes down.
Sniper.
And the F-15 goes down on top of that, so he cannot flip those cards for this turn. And again, the way that you strategize what cards move down when and what cards are left to be turned over is sort of the secret name of the game. So coming to my turn, I'm going to supply these. Might as well not leave any of these out to be hit. I'm going to bring in the CBs, and then I have the option to flip. At this point, I'll just press my luck, and that goes on top of the naval base. Perfect example of when I should not have flipped over, because now it's going to delay another turn before I can use all 3 to bring in the naval base. So even though it's what we call the greedy goblin, it shows you the negative of when you flip and you should not have had. So that was the end of my turn in terms of the flip. Goes to yours. Now we can use that air base to supply that AGM. Your snipers get supplied, and then just quickly go through a move attack. So this has a range of 5. Excuse me, movement of 5.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5. So immediately you can see the difference between the air-sea lane and the battlefield. That nothing has these type of ranges. So he took off from the air base that he built with his CBs, and he's allowed to take off because of his captain card still being active. He goes up and he has a range of 0R, which means this current row, and he can attack anything that's on the ground. He turns, this mortars is gone. Now the other plane that you see over here, the F-15C, he would be right up here with them and also attack the Apache, but he's not out just yet. So that's turn right there, and then just leave those there for now, and let's go to your build queue. So the howitzer comes in, the F-15 comes down on top, yep. And then let's quickly go to my turn. Oh, go ahead, yes, please flip. There's another AGM. And that goes underneath this captain and underneath this jammer, so you'd have to reassign to get that other air-to-ground jet fighter. There's his air-to-air, goes into BQ3. Is that an Apache? Okay. So I need some air defense. I need my ships to be built. And then he has another construction battalion. At least that delays his air-to-air. If you did not do that, he'd have 2 air-to-airs out that much quicker. Hopefully you're starting to see how, in terms of the number of turns away, I get to know and he gets to know. If you did not flip that, it would be a different game. Quickly, on my turn, I would be able to supply these if I had my base, but I don't. So, first thing I'm going to do, and of course now I can't use my CVs because I flipped over my chaparral. Let me just back up everything for this particular case. And my Iowa class battleship comes in, Virginia class sub comes down, and actually this is a good time to talk, excuse me, Chaparral comes down. It's a good time to talk about canceling and reassign. You have seen him reassign his captain and use it as a place marker, but I can see all of his cards now. All of his cards have been flipped. My sub is not needed. So now that I've done my BQ shift phase, I go to my cancel reassign phase and I cancel my sub. There's no reason for me to build it. Now I go to my flip phase and I can flip over this card, which is a BQ3 Admiral. God, I got stymied again. Now the good thing is that my Admiral can be reassigned, but yet again I've delayed my naval base to another turn. And now we're going down to the last card. Do you think I can remember my 20th card? I'm going to guess that is supply? No, BQ and Trenchers. Comes in here. I have all my cards have been seen. All of his cards have been seen. I'll move it over to him. The first thing that he would do was supply his howitzer there. He would also supply his air base. That was like that. Goes back to that. And then move attack, that has 5 movement, goes all the way back to the air base. Let's skip your move attack for the sake of time and go to your BQ. So now every green goes down 1, construction battalion comes in, spent. The F-15 Eagle comes down 1 and the Apache comes down 1. Now he has the option to do cancel reassign if he wanted to get into his AGM or not, or he can pass on that and get his air-to-air out the next turn.
We're going to pass.
Excellent.
Air to air.
So my turn, the first thing I do is supply. I'm going to skip the movement phase and just stay here for the sake of time. Chaparral comes down and that's all that happens. Now I go to my cancel reassign phase and I'm still trying to get that naval base out, so now I'm going to put this underneath. That's the reassignment. I'm reassigning the officer. And in doing so, I have my naval base that is now open and active so that my 3 construction battalions can pull it out in 1 turn. So now we're going to probably start getting into more movement attack phases, because if I get this out, it's going to be a whomping. So, if I do. So, going to your turn, the first thing he's going to do is supply. So he's going to supply that 1 AGM with the air base. And I've backed up enough so you can't get me. Thank you.
Now we're playing
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you wouldn't be able to get me, so keep him back. And you should have a Stratotanker in there. If I didn't put it in, my apologies.
It's okay.
Stratotankers give it extra range by refueling in the air.
I'm going to bring him out. 1, 2.
Okay.
I'm going to bring the Chaparral up 1.
Sure.
Oh, I forgot to. We're going to move him up. 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 Bring him in spent. Bring him down 1. He comes down 1. Your turn.
My turn. So now I have all of my 3 construction battalions. I can use each one for a build point. My naval base goes 1, 2, 3, comes in, and it does come in spent. And the only way that I can supply that is by the rear admiral. The only way that my ships can move out is because of the admiral. Chaparral also comes out. And at this point, let's do 2 more turns, and then I think they understand how these work. So please, your turn. You're going to supply both of those planes. And I left this guy out. You should be able to hit this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the difference between the AGM, the air-to-ground jet fighters from the U.S. Air Force, is that the air-to-air has 1 extra row. So he moves up 5, but his range is 1 row, so then he can hit this. So he then hits the Apache goes out. Whereas the Falcon with the air-to-ground missile, he can hit this row. So I'm behind that. If I were in this row, then he could go up here and attack that. But of course, I'm trying to stay back. Real quickly, just go to, you can.
So I would just move everything.
March everything up for the sake of not going into the detail. Yep. And then the Apache down 1. So I get to my supply phase. I can supply this naval base because the rear admiral is active. This is then supplied. And I'm going to go into the future now. Alright, so then the next turn, what I would do is then use this TCA to then supply all of my ships. Then the ships can march. The battleship can move up 2, but it cannot fire and move in the same turn, very much like artillery and SAMs. But in the case that I had my battleship here, it's a very cool card in the sense that all of the damage that I do in any of these 1 squares is 2. But I could change the range for amount of damage. So I could say, oh, I'm going to hit this one, that's 2 away, but I only can do 1 damage. So I could actually fire onto the sniper and take the sniper away. The destroyer has movement of 3, 1, 2, 3, but has a range of 0. Now nothing can hit these destroyers. So as he's coming down, I'm going to be using these destroyers to pop out, say, the Chaparral, that if I kept my Apache, I would be able to go. And he has another Apache coming in. What's my air defense? I can also use the destroyer to hit the Apache as well. So now I have the destroyer coming up here and hitting things this way, and then I would have to supply by moving back into the airbase. I hope this answers most of your questions. I know I talked really, really fast, but it's a game that has simple rules that the complexity comes within the players, and knowing how many moves ahead I need to have my ships out, or how many moves, if he doesn't flip that card, that the jets are going to come out. The complexity comes within the players, not the rules. Boy, I really do hope this helps. Thank you for listening all this long while, and hopefully you go to Kickstarter and help me fund this great expansion to the already great game P.O.W.E.R. Thanks a lot. This is PK.